I think one of the big stories that's not been reported in the last few days, since former FBI Director James Comey's testimony before the Senate Intelligence Committee, is that there seems to be a political strategy at play here. Hi, everybody. Patrick here. For those of you who are watching this video on my website, you'll already know where I'm going with this. For those of you watching on YouTube or on Facebook, welcome to my very first crack at a YouTube video. I'm going to talk about Jim Comey and his testimony last Thursday before the Senate Intelligence Committee, and how there's a broader strategy at play and how he tends to be, or at least he's on his way to victory in this political battle with the President of the United States. First, I want to give you some context, though. One of the reasons I'm doing this video is because not even a week ago, I went back to Twitter after a 2-year hiatus. And when I went back, I realized it was the same place I had left almost 2 years ago. It's the same, place where trolls seem to congregate and jump on people for no reason at all or for expressing an opinion. But it's also very ill-informed, and I think the misinformation that's being spread on Twitter is now much more elevated than it was when I left, and I attribute that to the election of a president who consistently tweets misinformation and lies. Going to James Comey now. There is a strategy which I think begins from the quote leaking of his opening statement to the media. The fact that James Comey used the term leak, I thought was surprising. I'm also equally surprised that the media hasn't picked up on the fact that a former chief law enforcement official, the director of the agency, probably the most famous police agency in the world, using a term such as leak, which has become so derogatory, especially in the post-Edward Snowden era, to describe his own actions. And nobody's actually picked up on that. It would be puzzling if I didn't think there was a strategy at play. One of the reasons I think James Comey released his statement to the media early was had a lot to do with the news cycle. His testimony was supposed to be on a Thursday morning, and of course the nightly news on Thursday would have had the contents of his testimony. His testimony would have been online, well before he even walked out of the Senate. But the print media would not have been able to run with it other than through their online avenues. Print wouldn't have gone out until Friday morning. And one of the things, if you are an avid political watcher, that you'll know about politics is that government agencies do not make major policy pronouncements on Fridays. Those are the Fridays are usually reserved for when they want to bury bad news. They want to, quote, take out the trash. A negative jobs report, employment numbers that are not as good as expected. Press releases get sent out on Friday afternoons and in the hopes that the story gets buried. Having his statement leaked to the media, particularly print media, on a Wednesday means that it goes into print for Thursday. So it's in the hands of their readers on a day where they're more interested in what's being said in the news. Now the fact that he's using the word leak to describe his own actions demonstrates that Comey is anticipating a reaction, and a reaction is exactly what he got. Fox News and other right-wing media outlets in the U.S. Were very swift in condemning Comey as a leaker, which is in fact not what he did at all. He essentially just gave the press his opening statements to Congress, which is not an illegal practice. It's done all the time. It's not highlighted as much because There's very rarely ever a Senate hearing that is as high profile or as highly interesting as Comey's testimony was last Thursday. So what he did in terms of giving his opening statement to the media wasn't a leak. It was just providing the public with a preview of what he was going to say. But the fact that he got the reaction, first through the punditry and then through the President of the United States on Twitter, allows him to win more credibility while destroying the credibility of the president. Keep in mind, the president who goes on Twitter who says, oh, James Comey's a leaker, his testimony provides complete and total vindication. It doesn't make any sense at all because, I mean, those two statements are incompatible. You can't accuse somebody who has vindicated you of being a leaker. Throw into the mix the fact that President Trump has suggested that there were tapes of his conversations with Comey, and the hundreds and hundreds of lies that he's spread through public statements, through media interviews, through Twitter, about a variety of different issues. This only hurts Trump's credibility. The moment he sent the tweet, the whole complete vindication and wow, Comey's a leaker tweet, the moment he sent that, he walked into a trap. What it did was it riled up Trump supporters to go on social media and say, oh, Comey's a leaker, hashtag indict Comey. When you have journalists, you have respected lawyers, you have academics, you have political analysts, even political operatives on the Republican side, bashing the President of the United States and saying that Comey is a man of integrity and all of this other stuff. Sure, Comey has made enemies on both sides of the aisle. The whole his handling of the Hillary Clinton email thing, and now with this, I think he's got a lot of enemies now. But I think the one thing that he did take responsibility for, or he did do responsibly, was deliver this testimony and keep notes of his interactions with the president, who was actively seeking to undermine an investigation that he was overseeing. I've looked everywhere on the internet to try and find some pundit, some journalist, some political operative writing a blog post or an essay or a peer-reviewed article and trying to outline what may be a political strategy at play. And I haven't found it. So I decided I was going to take this opportunity, put together this YouTube video, express what I think is the strategy at play, and invite you to engage with me, provide feedback, comment. Like I said, this is my first crack at YouTube, so I believe there's a comment section below. Comment on my website, Facebook, whatever you want. Let me know what you think. And thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully I'll turn this into a regular thing. But for now, thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your weekend.